collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at the Rution and Galaxy Armor set from the Ultra Action figure line for Ultraman Arc. So this is another kind of figure and armor combo set. We have Rution, which is apparently Arc's name back on his home planet, and this is kind of a somewhat translucent, fancy version of Arc. I would assume it's the same figure, just done with different plastic, but we'll check all that out. And then, of course, we get the Galaxy armor as well. It comes with the Galaxer, all that good stuff. So I think this one should be pretty cool. Now, it shows on the packaging that this armor is meant to go on your original Ultraman Arc figure. Again, I would assume it works on this as well. We'll take a look at that. Over here on the back just kind of shows all the armor going on the figure, and it looks like he comes with the large like plastic barrier that we've seen him use in the show as well. That's kind of back here. So yeah, we'll get everything out of the packaging here and we'll take a closer look. Alright, so here is our Rution figure as well as the Galaxy armor. Now I will say right up front, it does have these two little feet pieces, and as soon as I opened this up and took it out of the box, they dropped out. I really have no idea where they're supposed to connect or how they attach to the armor here, so I'm just putting them off to the side. But here is most of the armor put together to form this cool little like galaxy effect. I think that's really neat how all the armor kind of combines together like that. We'll get back to that in a moment. And then, of course, we have the Galaxer as well, done mostly in this kind of purple plastic with a little bit of metallic blue paint there around the edge. But it is got some nice molded in detail. And then the last accessory is this like shield. A lot of times in the show, we see him create one of these rectangular shields. So this is kind of a somewhat flimsy but like plastic piece. It's not paper, it's not cardboard or anything. It's kind of a translucent plastic, but it's nice. Whoop. It can take Rution out apparently. But yeah, it's pretty durable. I think that's kind of nice. And then you can have any of the figures hold it, just kind of open up their hands and kind of pop this in like this. And then you can kind of have them create the shield like that, which is kind of cool. So just a fun little extra piece. Nothing super special. You can use as a bookmark if you want, but it's a pretty nice little accessory here, and I think that's kind of cool. I'm going to go ahead and put that off to the side. We'll take a quick look at the Rution figure here. Now, this is exactly just the Ultraman Arc figure done in this kind of sparkly, translucent plastic. You can kind of see that the shoulders and the forearms are, and the like shins, lower leg area, and the feet are kind of that pearly, more opaque plastic, and then you have everything else in this kind of silver-esque. It's an interesting effect, but it does kind of almost make it look like a prototype or something, the way it's done in the different colors. But ultimately, I think it's neat. I like this quite a bit. It's something different. They're going to do the same figure again. At least they're giving us something pretty different. Just to compare it here to Arc, here is our normal Arc figure. And it's a little difficult to see, but if you get in close, you can see all of the molding is the same. All of the molded in detail, even like down here in the legs. So obviously this is just not painted the same, but it is the exact same figure. Now that being said, there's nothing to stop you from putting any armor that can go on this figure as well. So you have that going on. So if you want, to put some armor on this guy. I actually think the Galaxy armor looks pretty cool. We'll check that out a little bit later. But yeah, it's a pretty cool looking figure. So just like Arc, you got a ball joint here for the head. You can look down pretty good. Can't really look up all that much because this piece on the back, the head kind of hits into that. But you can look down pretty decently. Swivel side to side. Can't really, you can tilt maybe the tiniest little bit side to side. You got a nice hinge there for the shoulder, as well as a rotation. Bicep swivel, 90 degrees in the elbow. Got the wrist swivel, got the two sets of fingers that open up. Same as all the other Ultra Action figures. Nothing in the waist. Kick decently far with the leg and decently out to the side. Can't go back because you got the butt flap. Nothing in the thigh. Still wish these had thigh swivels, but a little over 90 degrees there in the knee. And then you have a ball joint in the ankle. So very standard articulation for Ultra Action figures. And with this being the same figure as Arc, there really should be no surprises in terms of articulation. But a cool looking figure. I see what they were going for. And just a way for them to use the same figure again. But I think it works. Kind of neat. And it gives you another body to put armor on if you're looking to display the armor. So not too bad. We'll go ahead and check out the Galaxy armor now. So I think this is pretty cool. I like the way this effect kind of works here. You have the chest plate in the center, and these are those pieces that on the show kind of like circle around him. There's not really a way to connect these pieces to the body, but they're here, they're included, and then you can see the bulk of the armor back here. So we're going to start off by detaching this. You can see that this kind of pegs into the top of the chest plate here, and then we'll pop the chest plate off like that. Then we're going to grab a hold of these pieces. This is going to be the forearm armor and the leg armor, and these are pegged in. So if we can pop, oh, I got both of them. So you can see that there's a little peg hole right there, and they just peg on right here and here. So this is the kind of back and shoulder pad area. Now I will say the shoulder pad ball joint on mine is a little weird. Like, it pops on, but it doesn't really want to bend this way, and if I kind of turn it, it tends to pop off. It might just be, maybe I need to file this down, maybe there's like a little nub or something, but it seems to not want to move around. I can kind of force it if I hold both parts of it, but this one I don't have as many problems with. But you can also see that the collar pieces here are a little flimsy, which I don't love, but it should be okay. Then, of course, we have the chest plate, very nicely painted. Then with these two pieces we took off, you're just going to kind of pop this out. This is just kind of frictioned in there. There's kind of like the tiniest little channel you can kind of see. And then this just kind of fits in there and wedges in. It doesn't peg in or anything. So, I mean, I'll be honest. The fact that these armors can kind of be put together to make, you know, the sun or the moon or the galaxy looking thing, like, it's neat, but I just want the armor. It doesn't really matter to me all that much personally how well those things are formed. And then we got to bring our shoes back in because I couldn't get them to attach it anyway. So I think we have all our pieces. Now the way this works, you just kind of start taking this apart like this, and these pieces will drop out. So they're all just kind of pegged into each other. Again, there's no way to connect these to the body. In the show, they're always just kind of like zooming around him. And then he kind of like uses them to create a portal. Now, I don't think there's a way to actually create the portal. So you'd have to leave them together the way we had them, which would be like this. So the way, there's kind of two connection points. There's one right there, and then there's one right there. So you kind of take this and peg it in like that, and then take this and peg it in like that, and then pop the last one in. Come on. So you can kind of make a portal like this, I guess. I wish there was a way you could kind of make a full big circle for him to jump through like we see on the show. But yeah, I'm glad these are included, but at the same time, because there's no way to like connect them to the body, they don't do much for me personally. It would be nice if there was a way you could kind of connect them to the back, or, you know, have some kind of feature that makes it look like they're hanging around him. But I get that, you know, there are limitations. These figures aren't figure arts or anything like that. So, but yeah, so these pieces are here. I'm going to put them off to the side for now. We're going to take this. You can see this channel here on the back of the armor. You got to make sure that the seam on his back goes in there, or else this is not going to work out. So there we go. We got that. Then we'll take the chest plate and peg that in. Should be pretty simple. There we go. Then you can position the shoulder pads. And then we're going to take the leg pieces here. I don't think it matters which way you pop these on. At least I haven't been able to find a way that matters. But I think you want the peg holes towards the outside, I think. Now with the boots or shoes or whatever we want to call these, there is a way to like properly connect them. You can see that that one has an R and this one has an L. But I gotta be honest, I've tried them both ways. They don't connect on that well. Like, they'll kind of snap on, but like not really great. Like, they'll stay on. Like, they're not going to fall off, which I appreciate, but they just look a little wonky around the foot, but it gets the job done, I guess. Then you're going to take the forearm pieces, and again, I don't think it matters which way you pop these on. But there we go. There is Arc in the Galaxy armor. I think he looks pretty cool. I like this quite a bit. I love the color scheme for this. You got the purple, you got the metallic blue, the metallic pink. I think all that looks pretty sharp. Even looks decent from the back. I mean, the legs are the only part that you really see. Everything else looks pretty good. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with that. We got the Galaxer. We'll come along and pop this into his hand. But yeah, it works. I think it looks really good. I like this quite a bit. I thought they did a pretty good job with the armors. I mean, there haven't been many this year. It's only really been 3, but I think all 3 of them were pretty successful. I think it was smart to have them be compatible with the Ultra Action figure line and make them specifically to work with this. And yeah, all in all, I think all 3 of these have been pretty successful. This might be my favorite one just because the others really only had kind of stuff on the top, whereas this guy's got, you know, boots and armor and shoulder pads and forearms. So kind of has the armor all over. So I think it's a little bit more all-inclusive. But yeah, I think he looks pretty great. And I just wanted to confirm that you absolutely can put the armor on the Rution figure. And I actually think it looks pretty cool with this kind of cool translucent sparkly body. And then having the armor over top. I think that looks really neat. This definitely might be how I display this just because I think this looks really cool. I think this is a really fun figure. I really like the Galaxy armor. I think it's cool in the show. I think it's, you know, executed well here. Yes, it would be nice if this had some way to play a role with the figure instead of just kind of, you know, making it swirl about on your own, but it is what it is. But the armor came out great. It attaches to the figure, you know, really well. I have no problem with that. The shoes are a little weird. They stay on, which is the important part. You know, they don't seem to clip on as well as I'd like, but the job gets done and it looks fine. So I think the armor works well. I love the color scheme. The paint apps here are nice. And the Rution figure is actually pretty cool. I mean, they needed a second release, let's be honest. They're paring down these Ultra Action figure releases for the current show. I feel like, you know, back in the day, I mean, really, if we go back a couple years, we have like Zet to look at where you had a couple different forms. But then you also had some side characters and villains and things like that. So you were getting maybe 5 to 8 figures a year. It seems like we're getting 2 now. Blazer had 2. Arc has 2. So I don't know. I guess maybe they're phasing this line out. Maybe they feel like they've done what they can with it, but they still want to offer something. I'm just speculating here. But in any case, the 2 figures we got, I think, pretty much cover what we need it to cover from the show. All 3 armors were available. I mean, yes, it's really just one figure in 2 different kinds of plastic, if that makes sense, because the 2 figures are identical. Rution and Arc are the same exact figure. They just did, you know, this different kind of sparkly plastic for Rution. But I actually think it looks cool. I mean, we did actually see Arc as Rution in the show, so it makes sense. And I actually think this figure with the Galaxy armor looks really cool. This is probably how I'll be displaying mine. So I don't mind it as much. I mean, with Blazer, we kind of had 2 distinct figures because the armor was kind of molded into that. Whereas here you have 2 of the exact same figure, but then you have 3 different swappable options for the armor, which I think is kind of neat. But yeah, like I said, it gets the job done. You know, I think it's funny that we're scaled back so far on the number of releases, but at least those 2 are meaningful and they pretty much covered what they needed to. So you can kind of look at it as a good thing or a bad thing, depending on your perspective. But at least the 2 figures we got are pretty solid, and I definitely think they're both cool. If you're an Arc fan, I recommend picking them up, because that way you can have fun switching out the armors and whatnot. I'm rambling. This is a good figure. Definitely recommend checking it out. I also like the inclusion of the silly little, you know, barrier piece. It's just a fun little extra. Doesn't need to be more than it is. Gets the job done again. And I just think it's neat that they included that, because we've seen it a bunch of times in the show. So I think it's really cool that they made a physical accessory for him for that. So again, pretty fun figure. Really not that expensive in terms of Japanese action figures. I think it's somewhere in the like 25 to 30 range, which is about par for the course for these. But I have fun with it. I like it a lot. Definitely recommend checking it out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.